a good ball played in the Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! It is! Peter Ward! Villa in the lead!
Hello, good evening, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe, give me a follow, and you can follow me on Spotify, Apple and Amazon Music. Let's spread awareness of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. On this evening's interview episode, I am joined by my special guest, Tommy Johnson, and the international break is over. More content is back again. Tommy Johnson was a former Aston Villa striker from 1995 to 1997. He was part of the Aston Villa team who won the League Cup in 1996 at Wembley Stadium with Brian Litz. But also, he had a long career with a number of different clubs from different leagues as well. The Scottish Premiership, Premier League and Football League. Many teams, including Celtic, Kilmarnock, Aston Villa, Everton, Derby County, Notts County, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, Scunthorpe. Also, he finished his career at Teignmouth and Rochester. It's amazing, during his time at Villa, 47 appearances and 13 goals, but in his entire career, he had 350 career appearances and scored 127 goals. Super Tommy Johnson, please have the show. Tommy, how are you?
Chad, thank you very much. I'm surprised we have enough time to finish after the amount of clubs I've played for, but yes, many thanks for inviting us on. Looking forward to it.
I didn't realise you played for so many clubs.
I didn't realise that until you rattled them all off. But yeah, I think until I was 30, our Notts County, Derby, Villa, and Celtic, and then obviously old age set in, and that was it. Made it to 35 though. That was me. Got a retirement age. So I think if anyone had said at 16 what you would have done in my career, you'd snap the hands off. You know, millions of kids want to play football, and I was just fortunate enough to do it.
So you started your career at Notts County. So what is your memories from your first competitive game? And what was it like at Notts County?
It was brilliant, Chad. I went down as a 13-year-old on trial, met Mr. Mark Draper. So we've known each other that long. Fortunate, I had trials at various clubs, could have signed for Newcastle, but once I went to Notts County, it was a family club. It was in League One as it is now. And I loved it. Me and Drape's done our apprenticeship together, signed pro together. I think
you got scouted. You got scouted.
Yeah, from John Allen. God bless. He's passed away a few years ago when I was at Celtic. He was the Notts County scout up in the northeast, and as I said, I just loved it. Every time I came down, they made us feel at home. And I think my vision was, if I didn't like it away from home, I could always go back. And Notts County was a smaller club than Newcastle. And I thought if I'd done well, I'd probably get a better chance of getting in the first team at an earlier age. Drapes, to be fair, got in, I think, before me in the first team at Notts County. And that probably just spurred us on.
Mark Draper, he was a great player.
Chad, he's one of my best mates as well. So, but what a player. yes, I think obviously he went to Leicester from Notts County for over $1 million, and then the gaffer Brian signed him a year after he signed for Leicester. I think it was $3.25 million in the end that they paid for him. But Drapes had energy. He was good on the ball. You know, he had a good strike. He was a hell of a player.
I didn't realise Notts County, their nickname is the Magpies, just like Newcastle.
It's very ironic, yeah, that I signed for the other Magpie, shall I say, from where I was born. But yeah, I think at the time I knew I'd made the right decision, and I say it now, it was definitely the right decision. The club gave me and Drapes a good footing to go on to have the careers we had.
Yeah.
And who knows what would have happened if I'd signed anywhere else or signed for Newcastle.
In Notts County as well, there's a real togetherness in that football club. It's like a real community, or a nice community.
Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, we go back. I lived in Nottingham for many, many years, and we're always welcome back at the club. And yeah, it is a real family club, and it'd be nice for them to get back up the leagues again. Hopefully they can.
I think it's the next bit. So let's talk about your transfer from Derby County to Aston Villa. So how did that all happen?
Well, the year before, it's so ironic. We played Leicester when I was at Derby in 1994. We played Leicester in the playoff final. Brian Little was manager of Leicester. They beat us to get into the Premier League. I was in the last year of my contract. I think it was just before Christmas. There was rumours that Villa wanted to sign us, me and Gary Charles. Obviously, the gaffer had left Leicester to go to Aston Villa. And I think it was January time. I signed early January. But it's so ironic that if Derby had got promoted, we would have stayed at Derby playing in the Premier League. We didn't.
It's amazing how things happen like that.
Frightening, Chad. I don't know. Is it fate? Is it luck? Is it unlucky? You know, obviously, being at Derby, we'd spent a lot of money and we were looking to get into Premier League, and we just fell at the final hurdle. But as I mentioned, if Derby had got promotion, I would have signed a new contract and stayed at Derby. As it happens, as you said, Brian comes to Villa, and then me and Charlesy, I think we were Tails had signed first, he and Taylor, and then me and Gary Charles had signed just in January. So I don't know, call it what you want, fate.
And you signed for Aston Villa for 1.9 million, which these days, that's nothing.
You're right, yeah. I think going back in time, it was, and I always said no player was worth over £1 million, but yes, it was a lot of money at the time. But as you mentioned, it's gone absolutely crazy nowadays, hasn't it? It's 150 million, what was it? 125 million for Alexander Isak from
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think all clubs are in the same boat now. If you've got to spend a hell of a lot of money to get the players, and it's
they got PSR and SCR and all that.
Yeah, it's PSR. You've got that, yes. So obviously Newcastle struggled with that. So I think that's why they sold Elliot Anderson last year, and maybe Villa have been in the same position where they've had to sell players. I think Leon Bailey went in the summer. You know, there was Martinez.
The big wage bill. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, it's not the players' fault that they're getting the wages that they get. You know, the clubs are willing to pay it. So I don't know when will it end. Who knows?
Yeah. So let's talk about Brian Little then. So what was it like to work with Brian Little during your time at Aston Villa?
Oh yeah, absolutely fantastic. He was brilliant. You know, obviously being a Geordie himself and what he'd done for Aston Villa as a player. But when we were talking before it actually signed, obviously the agent was sorting all the finances out. He said to me, he says, "I want you playing as a number 10." He said, "That's where I see you playing." And you know, I've obviously watched you for a few years since you were at Notts County, etc. And he's just a great manager and never lost his rag, but just got his point across. And at first I was like, no, I want to play centre forward. I want to play up front and score goals. But over time, he was right. I absolutely loved playing as a 10, and it was I was still seeing him all the time. I still do a lot of the games for Aston Villa, the home games. So I live in Belfast now, but I fly over and I see the gaffer at every game, and it's good to see him. And obviously, and the rest of the lads as well. But fantastic man and a fantastic manager. I think he was one of the first probably to play 3 centre halves with backs, which we were quite. We done really well with that. Obviously, you mentioned before, 4th and 5th.
We brought Little as well. You put that rebuilding project. We brought Little come in. He wanted more younger players.
That's correct. I didn't realise until a few years later, Chad, that obviously Ron Atkinson, when he was here, I think the squad was aging a bit, and then the gaffer came in and changed things around a bit. But he signed obviously Ian Taylor, myself, Gary Charles, Alan Wright, Gareth Southgate, Savo, and we were all like early to mid-20s, and I think the average at the time when we settled in the team was about 23 and 24. But I didn't realise this until many years later. I was doing a bit of a Q&A with a gaffer, and he mentioned it. He'd watched players, from who'd done well in the Championship and who we thought would do well for Villa. And he brought more, as I said, he still kept a few of the elder statesmen like Paul McGrath, Steve Staunton, Nigel Spink, Andy Townsend.
You can really always think it's a golden generation.
Yeah, we're still obviously the last time to win a major trophy. Obviously we want Villa to go and do it hopefully soon. But there's nothing but probably all positivity about our era, especially the time I was there. I think for the 2.5 years we were there, as I mentioned, 4th and 5th in the league.
I was only just born then, 96, yeah.
Dear me. You're showing my age now, Chad. Dear me, 96. What was that? 25. So work it out. Yeah. Dear me.
Was you after Ron Atkinson?
Yeah. Brian signed me in the January. So Ron had left, I think, in the November, and the gaffer came in. And then Ian Taylor signed in the December, and then me and Gary signed in January.
Yeah. It's good look in those days. You can sign players at any time. You know the transfer windows.
It wasn't so much transfer windows. I think it was the third week in March where it was transferred for the last 6 weeks of the season. You couldn't sign, but there was no. You're right. Yeah, I don't know when it came in, but the transfer windows. But I think, from my point of view, I think the transfer window should end before the start of the season. And then players know the players who they've got in the squad, and they can't do it until the January. So, but that's up to UEFA, I'm afraid.
So ask you the next question then. So as a young player, did you enjoy being around big characters and quality players, including the likes of Milosevic, Ian Tyler, Bosnich, also Egg-Young, who was signing along with us?
Yeah.
Did you look up to those sort of players?
Yeah, I was still young and quite inexperienced, and obviously I hadn't played in the Premier League. And then when you first walk into the dressing room, as it says, we had the skip, Andy Townsend, Paul McGrath, Nigel Spink, Steve Staunton, Ray Houghton, Kevin Richardson. You just reel all them names up, top international players. And obviously had won the cup 2 years previously. So I think early doors in my Villa career, I was probably in a bit of awe of them. But then with the likes of the youngsters coming through, and the ones who the gaffer had signed, I think there was a good mix in the dressing room. But the dressing room, it was a great place to be. I'm laughing now to myself because every day was something happening. You know what I mean? I think Dwight would come in and you'd walk in and he'd be standing in a dustbin, just keeping the ball up with his head. Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable skill. and you're just laughing. Bozzy, 1 in a million. What a goalkeeper! What a goalkeeper!
One of the best goalkeepers.
Oh, he
One of
was
the best, really.
brilliant, yeah. And you see him now on Sky Sports, etc., back in Australia. But yeah, we had a great dressing room. Obviously, from the Nottingham side of us, I lived in Nottingham along with
Yeah.
Mark Draper, Gary Charles, and Franz Carr. So we used to travel in together every day. And
Yeah.
as you can imagine, it was quite a laugh. And then once you get into the dressing room, as I said, there was always something happening. But it was a great, yeah, very, very great part of my career.
That squad was full of pedigree, really.
Yeah, it was. As I said, you had the youngsters coming through as well. Like you had Michael Oakes, Gareth Farrelly, I can't think, Lee Hendry, etc., who were coming through. And as I said, I think I've always said it was like no disrespect to the clubs I played for, but not to Derby, to Villa. It was like a stepping stone, from League One Championship up to the Premier League, to an established Premier League club. But as I said, if Derby had got promotion, I would have probably stayed there. But
Yeah.
the facilities there, the gaffer's staff, Alan Evans, John Eggery, Paul Barron, Jim Walker, Jim Paul, the kit man, everyone was so. It was obviously a bigger club than Notts County, but family orientated as well. You had the girls in the canteen, etc.
Yes.
It was Debbie, the secretary. It was, and it's great going back now because you still see a couple of them.
Yeah.
Pam's still there, Pam Bridgewater, who
It's
looks
nice.
after six. So she was there when I was there. So, and we're talking, nearly 30 years now, aren't we? Well, it is 30 years, yeah, since I signed.
It's nice that even the fans, that they still remember you, which is nice.
It's brilliant, Chad. It is. It's as I said, I go to a lot of the home games when I can get myself over, and still do a few Q&As for Aston Villa clubs. And it was good times, brilliant times, and that's good. Yeah, as you say, I'm getting more grey now. We're getting a lot older. A lot of the younger fans won't remember us, but a lot of the parents and grandparents will.
Yes. So how would you describe your time at Aston Villa?
Oh, tremendous. Loved every second of it. It was, I think I could have left before I did, and there wouldn't have been probably many clubs that I would have left for. But the time I had there was just, it was, apart from the first, obviously I'd signed in the January, we were struggling towards the end of the season to avoid relegation, but we managed to do it. And then from then on in, my time was just success, as I mentioned.
I'm playing for like a real big club with a lot of history and tradition. I'm playing in the Premier League as well.
You couldn't wish for anything better, could you, Chad? That's the thing. It was tremendous. Yeah, the Premier League was kicking off, and we were successful. I was enjoy playing. I probably would have liked to play it a lot more than I did, but obviously, I think one time I got injured. I tore my thigh, and I managed to make the cup final squad, and lucky to get on the bench because I only trained the day before when we won the League Cup, so I was overjoyed to get on the bench. But I still have a pop at the gaffer because he never put me on.
Yeah. And also, I was going to say as well, he was known for being sick on the pitch. Was it the Spurs game, was it?
It was, Chad. Everyone asks us about it. I think it started Derby when I signed for Derby. I used to get nervous before games, and then at half time I used to be sick. I used to just run in and be sick at half time. And the particular game you're on about, Spurs, I wasn't. So I went out second half, and then everyone's seen us being sick on the pitch at half time. And then after the game, Jim Walker pulled us into the physio room, treatment room, and says, "Is everything all right?" I went, "Yeah, what's the matter, Jim?" And he went, "Well, you were sick." I says, "Oh, Jim," I said, "it's okay." I says, "Nothing wrong with this." I said, "A bit nervous tension." I just said, "I normally do it at half time, but I didn't." I just...
So is it more like was it like a nerves thing then?
I think, yeah, it was. And then I suppose a few months after I'd settled in at Villa, it stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, you grew out of it.
Yeah, good. I got more mature, shall we say, Chad.
Yes. So go to the next question then. So you're part of the team for the 1996 Coca-Cola Cup. So did you feel proud of getting the winner's medal and finishing fourth place?
Oh, definitely. As I said, I got injured. We were flying. We were playing really well. We the first leg of the semi-final against Arsenal down at Arsenal 2-2, which
Mm,
I still say was probably my best game for Villa. And then on the Saturday we played Ipswich away, and then I tore my thigh, and I missed the second leg, and I think it was about 6 weeks to the final, and I trained the day before, fully trained, and I just mentioned the gaffer put me sub, which was brilliant, and just to be part of it was unbelievable
Because
because.
the thing is, even though you wasn't a regular starter, you still contributed to the success.
Yeah, well, I think probably the most important goal I scored was against Wolves in the quarter final when we beat them 1-0. I
Oh
nearly missed
wow!
that. I nearly missed that one as well. Luckily, it hit the keeper and went in. But it was great. It was, as I said, it was such a successful time, and the week leading up to the cup final. And to be fair, we battered Leeds. You know what I mean? When we
Yeah.
seen that Wallace and Brian Dean went
Does you
up.
go remember like the goal that you had a Southern Milosevic, Ian Tyler, and Dwight York?
Unbelievable. Savo had one of the best left foots I've ever seen, and he took a little bit of
Yeah.
stick, and it was difficult for him. He was 21, coming from
Yeah.
abroad. He didn't speak the language, and it took him a while to settle in. But I think that goal that was absolutely
Well,
fantastic.
it goes down over the years one of the greatest goals because
Oh, brilliant!
you watch it over and over again.
It's a great goal, and that just settled us down. And as I said, we battered Leeds, and as you mentioned, Tail scored and Yorkie scored. Yorkie was phenomenal when I was there. He was unbelievable. What a player, and obviously had a great career at Man U, etc. But yeah, as you can imagine, the celebrations after the game went on for a couple of days.
But I don't think that Emery, hopefully we win a trophy either.
Hopefully,
Hopefully that's what we got to do.
that would be brilliant. They were disappointing against Crystal Palace this season,
Yeah.
and I think everyone's just wishing and hoping, it's not going to be too long because what he's done since he's been at the club has been unbelievable. As I said, I get to watch many games.
Yeah.
Had a good run in Europe, and they're in again this year. So hopefully this year it could be the year where they do win a trophy.
Yeah. That's because I think fans don't want memories to hold on to.
Well, yeah.
Just
Well, as I
what you guys did back in '96.
well, yeah, and I was just going to say then it's 30 years, obviously next year since we won it. So there's no better time to do it then, and then create a bit of history again.
Okay. Totally agree.
Yeah.
So come to the last question then. So you finished your career at Tamworth and Rochester. So what was your time like at those clubs?
Well, Tamworth, I lived in Nottingham, and one of my best friends, Richard Dryden, was assistant manager. I was at Scunthorpe. I was travelling an hour and a half
Yeah.
just to training. I was 35, and I just thought, I just want to somewhere close. When Tamworth was about half an hour from where I lived, and I said, I think I played, 6 or 7 games towards the end of the season, and then
Okay.
and then my good friend Pete Douglas lived in where does he lived in Utoxeter and was chairman of Roster and Rochester, and says, will you come and play for us? So I signed for them, but didn't actually play because I think he left the club. So when he left the club, I left as well.
Okay. But actually, I live in Tamworth, I did.
Sorry?
I live in Tamworth.
Oh yeah, the Lamb. Yes, I had a good time.
That's my neck of the woods, that is.
Yeah, just up the road. Nice place. As I said, it was only, I think it was half an hour from where I lived in Nottingham at the time. Oh, yeah. And then they've done well, haven't they? They had a good, they played Tottenham,
Yeah.
didn't they, last year, the year before?
Well,
in the
yeah,
cup?
they got a good game. They're very unlucky against Tottenham.
Yeah, they were very unlucky. I remember Sunday afternoon. But yeah, it was good times. It was, and then I think that was it. Chad, I was 35. Injuries, I was getting a lot more injuries and they were taking longer to recover. So I just thought, yeah, time to call it a day.
Decide what's usually your average age?
Well, yeah, I think if you get to 35, as I mentioned before, like starting at 16 and you've had 19 years as an apprentice and a professional, I think anyone would take that. Yeah, I think it'd be a very, very small percentage who actually get to 35 from the career. So, as I've said, I was always honoured and privileged to play for as long as I could.
I'm going to make just some 2 quick points.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you about the Irish FA. So could you explain to me your role? What's a senior coach developer?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, that's what they call it, a coach educator, shall we say? So I work with the Irish FA, and basically, in a nutshell, I coach coaches to get their
Okay.
qualifications, B license, A license, pro license. So I'm one of the tutors who take the coaching courses along with the staff at the Irish FA, and yeah, basically that's what it is. It's to get coaches through their qualifications.
It must be very fulfilling.
It's brilliant. It is. It's from when you see coaches from the start to when they finish. Is yeah, it's a great feeling. It's because a lot of the work is mentoring as well, mentoring coaches and to get them through it. Because they'll come on the coaching course for a week, 2 weeks, and then it's getting them through it after doing all the tasks and and then the final pitch assessment. So yeah,
So
it's very.
what's the link with Northern Ireland?
I done my badges. I done my qualifications here many, many years ago,
Okay.
and I just enjoyed the tutoring side of it. So I just carried on from there, and then I moved over 3 years ago to do it.
Well, there's a last point very quickly. What's your prediction for Everton versus Villa?
You've put me on the spot there, haven't you? I oh, I think Villa will win 2-1.
It's also against Jack Grealish.
Yes, that'll be interesting, won't it? Because he started his Everton career really well,
He's had
hasn't
a
he?
good start, 4
Yeah,
assists so far.
I think you're just seeing him back to his when he was at Villa, when he's just getting the ball and then taking defenders on, and it looks like he's enjoying himself again, which is great because he is a great player. There's no doubt about it.
Yes. I do miss him, but hopefully he don't score against us.
Oh well, hopefully not.
You can do it any time apart from not against us.
Definitely, yeah.
And also, obviously, they got the new stadium, Everton.
Yeah, and it looks fantastic. Hopefully, I'll get over it sometime before the end of season. But it looks fantastic.
But Tommy, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.
Chad, apologies at short notice, and thank you for having me. And if you'd like to have me again in the future, that's no problem at all.
Yes, thank you, Super Tommy Johnson.
Thank you, Chad. Much appreciated.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please remember to make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Smash us as many likes as we can. Also, make sure to give it a share on socials. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you're listening via audio, make sure to leave us a good review. That always helps. I won't be doing any more content till next Thursday, as I'm going away on holiday. But I will be back on the Thursday, the 18th of September. I'll be doing a weekly sort of preview before the Sunderland game. But until then, thank you everyone for watching. Up the Villa as always. And Villa through